Confident, confident, confident. I can be confident, 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 confident. I can be confident at work.
Hello and welcome to the Confident at Work podcast. I'm your host and your confidence coach, Anna Manning. And today, after a short summer hiatus, I am back. And we're going to be talking about those moments where you're really trying to fix something. So, those moments where I really know that I should be doing X, but right now I'm definitely doing Y and I need to fix it. Really simple example. Imagine you want to be speaking up more in meetings. So you know you should be doing X, speaking up more, sharing your ideas, sharing your contributions. But right now you're doing Y, i.e., more often you're staying quiet. Here's another potential example. I know that I should be having difficult conversations with my direct reports about the work that they're producing. So I know I should be doing X. I know I should be having those conversations, but right now I'm doing Y, i.e., I'm not having those conversations. I'm avoiding them and I really need to fix it. Here's another potential example. If you're over perfecting an email or a report, and you know you just need to get the thing sent. You know you should be doing X, you should just be getting it out, doing it, hitting send. But right now you're doing Y, which is you keep going away, doing something else, looking at it, trying to perfect it again, going away, looking at it, trying to perfect it again, putting off, pressing send. There may be multiple situations at work right now where you know full well that you're doing X. And you also know full well that you should, quote unquote, be doing Y. But you're not. And you really, really want to fix it. You've tried to do the thing that you know you should be doing, and it's hard. Maybe you've given it a go. Maybe you've given it a go quite a few times. Maybe sometimes you've even broken through in the moment and you've done it, but it's felt difficult, it's felt stressful, it's felt impossible to maintain. Maybe many of the times you just haven't managed to do it. So maybe you sat in that meeting knowing that you should share your ideas, knowing that you should speak up more, but not quite being able to. You've tried, it's hard, and then you've probably beaten yourself up afterwards for not doing the thing that you know you should be doing. And what I want to share with you today is that despite knowing what you should, quote unquote, be doing, it is not happening. So knowing it isn't fixing it. It's not that you're ignoring the problem. It's not that you're not aware of the problem. You've really tried. You really know what it is you're doing, and you really know what it is that you want to be doing instead. But those two things still aren't matching up. It hasn't quite shifted, or at least not with any kind of ease. So it's not that you've not noticed. It's not that you've not tried. It's about trying and still feeling stuck doing X when you know that you could or should be doing Y. And I see this with clients. Well, I'm going to say every day, every time I coach, honestly, because let's face it, they wouldn't be sitting down with me and talking about an issue if, when they first noticed it was an issue, they could just easily solve it themselves. And it's probably the same for you. You wouldn't be listening to a podcast about how to feel more confident at work if you noticed that you just should feel more confident at work and then it magically just happened. Take that example of speaking up more in meetings. Let's say you just noticed that you should or could be doing that, or somebody, even your boss, pointed out to you, oh, do you know what, Anna, I would love it if you contributed more. And you were like, okay, great. And then you did. When we know we should be doing something, we are aware of the problem, but we can't quite seem to fix it. We can get stuck in a cycle, which ironically can make it even harder to change it. And today, I want to suggest that you stop trying to fix it. Stop For right now, I want to suggest that you stop trying to fix it and that it's time to go a totally different way. There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? This is just a different way of skinning this cat. It's a bit of a gross thing to say, that, isn't it? Anyway, so what happens typically when we're aware of something and we know we need to change it? We try and fix it. We look for tools, we look for hacks, we look for tips, and we try and push through our fear or our anxiety or our resistance, and we try and do the thing. But let's do a little reality check on that. If there is a particular area that you're thinking of when I'm talking about this, if you're like, yeah, I really know I need to change that, but I just can't seem to do it. I know what the problem is and I know what the ideal solution is, but I can't seem to get between one and the other. Think of that particular issue and answer this question. Is your current strategy working? You know the problem. You know where you're trying to get to. And your current strategy to go between one and the other is what? Tools, hacks, tips, tricks, powering through, forcing yourself, berating yourself for not doing it or not being able to do it. How is that strategy currently working out? And I ask that a bit tongue in cheek. I often say to a client, "Oh, how's that working out for you?" And I'm taking the piss, right? Because I can tell that it isn't working out for you. That's why you sat with me thinking about how to do this thing differently. So I'm going to encourage you instead to stop trying to fix it and start instead to try listening. Stop trying to fix it. Just stop, try listening. The way I'm going to suggest that you listen is to ask yourself the question, why is it important that I keep doing this? Why is it important that I keep doing this? Because when you can't change a behavior, despite trying, that is information. That is a signal for you to tune into. And this question is going to help you to tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. So let's use that example of speaking up in a meeting. Let's say I'm not speaking up right now. I know I should be, but I can't seem to fix it. I'm going to go a totally different way. I'm going to try listening. So I'm going to ask myself the question, okay, Anna, why is it important that I keep doing this? Maybe the rephrase is, why is it important that I keep quiet in meetings? And when you ask yourself that question, expect it to kind of shortcut your brain. And very often the first answer that I get is just static, not signal. Persevere, because we're asking your brain to go a totally different way than the way it's gone before. It's been trying to fix, it's been trying to push. This is a different way. So Anna, why is it important that I stay quiet in those meetings? Because if I don't, I'm at risk of saying something and being judged for it. Because if I don't, I might say something irrelevant or something that doesn't make any sense to people. Okay, so at this point, we want to keep listening. So it's important that I keep quiet because otherwise I might say something irrelevant, might say something people don't understand. Maybe I'll sound stupid. So if we keep paying attention, we might wonder, well, what would it be like to feel stupid in that meeting? And I might say, God, that would be awful because there's all those people there and everyone is an expert and they think I'm stupid. What does that mean? I don't belong there. I don't know anything. I'm not good enough to do my job. And then I'll just feel like a fool and lose all my confidence. That's a for instance. But it's an example of the kind of thing that might come out when you quit trying to fix and instead you just try listening. Try understanding why it might be important that you keep doing X, even though in theory, you know you should be doing Y. is forget Y for a moment and just look at X and say, why is it important that I keep staying quiet in that meeting? What would happen? What am I worried would happen if I didn't? Is there some kind of risk that I'm exposing myself to or worry that I've got? Take the other example that I gave at the beginning. I'm not having those hard conversations with my direct reports, even though I know I need to. So let's turn and look at X, which is having those hard conversations. And let's try asking ourselves the question, why is it important that I keep avoiding those conversations? Why is it important for me not to have those conversations? Because if I do, I expose myself to even more difficulty. They might be upset, they might be annoyed, they might even be annoyed with me. They might not be able to handle the feedback. Might not even be able to give them the feedback. It might end up in a real, heated debate, which would just be awful, and I might not be able to deal with it. I might potentially risk ruining the entire relationship if I ever tell them something that they don't want to hear. Again, that's a for instance. I don't know what the answer would be for you, but I just know that if you can take the time to ask the question, you're likely to find something relevant, interesting, and ultimately something that needs to be listened to, needs to be understood, needs to be brought up into the light or put out on the table if you're going to fix whatever's happening. So whatever you're currently trying, maybe even desperately trying to fix, if whatever you're doing right now just doesn't seem to be working, if it's not changing in the way that you want, try this. Try going a completely different way around. Stop trying to fix it. You can start again if you want, but for a minute, stop trying to fix it. When there's a behaviour at work that you can't change, that's information and it's a signal. So instead of trying to fix and push through, we're going to tune in. We're going to turn up the volume and we're going to listen. We're going to find out what is going on under the hood. Why is it important that I stay quiet in those meetings? Why is it important that I avoid those difficult conversations? Why is it important for me to perfect everything? And try asking yourself, because if I don't, just see how that sentence ends. And if it feels weird to do this out loud, type it or write it. And it may be that you come to a bit of a brain blank at first. You might say, well, it's not important that I stay quiet in those meetings, Anna. It's very clearly important that I do say something in those meetings. That's okay. That's your brain going the same way round as it did before. So take a moment and notice we're doing something different here. We're going a different way round, and it might feel odd, but it's worth persevering, because when an issue is very tenacious and you can't quite seem to fix it, it is time to do something else. And this might just be the something else which gives you a breakthrough, which gives you the understanding that you need, which moves you one step closer to where you want to be. And what you'll notice when you stop trying to fix and start instead trying to listen is that often you will hear something deeper. You will hear why it feels really important for you to keep doing X, even though you know you should be doing Y. You might hear about worries and fears, about memories, all of that, even if you're not consciously aware of it in the moment, is there. And all of that may be the reason why this issue is so tenaciously not changing. There's a quote that I'm going to butcher it, but you probably don't know it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it says something like, you can't move away from a position that you don't knowingly occupy. And what that means is, use the speaking up in meetings example. So I've been trying to move from a position of staying quiet to sharing my contributions, but I have no idea that when I'm staying quiet, the position that I am occupying is a position of somebody whom is terrified that if I speak, people aren't going to understand. I might have missed the mark and I'm going to look stupid and therefore losing every bit of confidence that I've even got now. It's definitely better for me to stay quiet than risk all of that. I couldn't move away from that position when I didn't even know that was the position I was occupying. Position of somebody whom was just desperately trying to hold on to the bit of confidence that I did have and avoid being judged and feeling stupid in front of all of those people. Once I really know my position, I stand a cat in hell's chance of moving away from it. But until I knowingly occupy that position, I don't fancy my chances of moving away from it at all. At least not without a fight and an extreme amount of effort every single time I open my mouth. And that's not what we're after. So like I said, what you might notice when you stop trying to fix and start listening is that often you'll hear something deeper. And when you know the position you're occupying, i.e., what's actually going on underneath the hood in that moment, even though you're not aware of it, from there, you have a chance of moving away from it. So I'm going to encourage you. Stop trying to fix it. You can start again next week if you find that this approach doesn't do anything for you either. But give me a week where you just stop trying to fix any of it. And instead, you just start doing some listening. Tune in and ask yourself the question, why is it important that I keep doing this? Don't fight it. Don't fix it. Just ask, why is it important? And if you want another way of phrasing this, just start writing out or saying to yourself, it's important that I keep doing this, i.e., it's important that I keep staying quiet because if I don't, it's important that I avoid those difficult conversations because if I don't, it's important for me to perfect everything to the nth degree because if I don't, and just see what comes back. And if you want to come and do this work supported with me, there are 2 ways that you can do that now. The first is to join the Confident at Work membership. That is for professional women who want to feel more confident at work. We have all the tools, resources, coaching, support that you need to help you go about things in a totally different way. If the way you're going about trying to change or fix stuff right now isn't working, this is a different way. The other option is to come and work with me privately, come and work with me one-on-one, and we are going to sit down together. We're going to look at those areas where you feel less confident than you want at work. And we're going to take the time and the space that you need to turn up the volume and listen. When there's something really tenacious that won't change, just remember, something needs listening to here. And if you want to do that with me, head to the links in the show notes. Book a call. I'm happy to chat with you and tell you whether or not I think I can help. All right. I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye.
Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident. Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident at work.